The Terminator franchise has been a dominant force in pop culture for decades and has delivered one of the greatest movie one-two punches in cinematic history. Terminator 1 was a thrilling action suspense sci-fi movie built on an intriguing but unfortunately shaky premise. Then there's Terminator 2, which might be the greatest sequel of all time. A movie which made the already terrifying villain, the Terminators, way worse. A fun road trip movie that broke new grounds in its time. Arguably David Cameron's magnum opus, but they have one major problem. It completely screws over its established continuity and breaks its laws on time travel, and it put the franchise in a state of disrepair. Before we get into the video today, remember to like, comment, and subscribe below, as your support will go a long way. This video is sponsored by my Miles Morales video, where I talked about how Miles Morales isn't ready to be introduced into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I pitched an idea how and when he could be introduced into the MCU, or a way he could be used to continue Tobey's or Andrew's Spider-Man stories. Anyway, back to the video. So Terminator 1 has a very clear premise. In the year 2029, the world is run over and at war with a rogue artificial intelligence military defense system called Skynet. The leader of the resistance against this group is named John Connor, so Skynet sends one of their cybernetic assassins called the Terminator Model T-800 back in time to kill his mother, to squash the resistance before it could even start. In the future, John Connor and the resistance learn of this plan and also send their own protector called Kyle Reese, who ends up being John's father. They defeat the Terminator as it is crushed by a hydraulic press. In T2 Judgment Day, after surviving the first Terminator, we pick up 10 years later. Sarah Connor has been incarcerated in a state hospital as she has violently tried to stop Judgment Day, which is August 29, 1997. The day Skynet will gain sentience and proceed with the hostile takeover of the world. A T-1000, which is absolutely terrifying.
Man, if you've seen this shit.
How do you stop that? Anyway, a T-1000 is sent back in time to kill Sarah and her son John Connor. Luckily, a T-800 has also been sent back in time and is programmed to listen to young John Connor and protect him. A lot ensues, and eventually John, Sarah, and the T-800 beat the T-1000 and prevent Miles Dyson, the engineer working on the Skynet program, from continuing his research that he reverse engineered from the crushed bits of the Terminator from the original movie. Skynet is down, but not seemingly completely out, just delayed. Okay, now that is explained, let's break down the timeline of each character. Sarah Connor has a very straightforward timeline. She is born in 1965 and lives life until she meets a man named Kyle Reese while she is 19 in 1984. They fall in love over the span of 2 days. What is this, Romeo and Juliet? Anyway, creating John Connor. Finding out about Skynet radicalizes Sarah and leads her to try and stop Judgment Day, where she eventually takes down Skynet before it truly can be created in 1995. John Connor also has a straightforward timeline. Growing up, always on the run and looking over his shoulder, his mother tells him of his future and protects him from threats, allowing him to develop various skills he will need when he leads the human race against Skynet. He's born in 1985 and leads the resistance up until 2029, where he sends his own father back in time to ensure he is born through protecting and bedding his mother. Kyle Reese has a little more complicated storyline. Born in 2003, 19 years after the birth of his son, Kyle is sent back in time by his son at age 26 in the year 2029. He falls in love with Sarah and beds her and dies in 1984, protecting her from the T-800 Skynet assassin. Now, this timeline does sound complicated, but is very straightforward. Kyle's journey is linear. He does nothing in the past that directly affects his future. He keeps the status quo of the story correct. Lastly, Skynet. This is where this timeline falls apart. In T1, Skynet sending one of its Terminators back where it's in time would change the timeline, but only for their betterment. Maybe. You see, Sarah finds out about Skynet only because they sent a Terminator back in time. This leads Sarah then to prepare John for the upcoming Judgment Day, resulting in John being the leader of the resistance. And John was only created because Skynet sent an assassin back in time, so Kyle Reese had to be sent in time, resulting in the creation of John in the first place. This is a time casual loop that already throws the logic of this series through a spin, but this only gets worse in the second film. Now in the second film, it is stated that Skynet is being made by reverse engineering the T-800 robot's CPU from the first film. Wait a minute, so Skynet is being created by Skynet from the future? This makes no sense. Where does Skynet start? How is it possible for Skynet to be its own creator? How can Skynet from the future be the creator of Skynet from the past? This is a timeline-breaking time loop, an impossibility that dooms all future installments of Terminator, as now all other installments that try and expand upon this shaky base are doomed to crumble as the plot holes would only get clearer. But I have a solution. I believe the solution to all of this is that Skynet made an error when trying to travel back in time, and they did not travel back in time at all, but instead traveled to an alternate universe, in that universe's version of 1984 and 1995, and Terminator 1 and 2 respectively. The Resistance hijacked Skynet technology, so when Kyle was sent back, he and John made the same mistake as the Terminator. Every time Skynet is created, this is what happens, as if it is a multiversal constant. This would fix the issue of Skynet creating itself and Skynet creating their own enemy, as they would be doing neither. All that would be happening is slight variations of Skynet would be spreading across the multiverse into infinitude, a process repeated over and over again, and explains the other Terminator films and TV series. Often, the other films have information wrong, such as Sarah Connor's date of birth in T3 Rise of the Machines, or the major change that Sarah was warned of the events that were to transpire due to early T800 jump, landing before 1984 in Terminator Genesis, or the brand new timeline that's created when Skynet is successful in killing John Connor in 1988, which resulted in a future where a new woman named Dani Ramos becomes the newest version of Sarah Connor, as her daughter Grace will become the new John Connor. All of this could be the result of hopping to alternate universes, where the stories pan out slightly differently. This being the case was hinted at the beginning of the franchise, as sending a Terminator to kill John ends up creating John, which John has to send his own father back in time to do. This in itself is a paradox. So that was my explanation solving the Terminator series' great paradox. A paradox that has doomed the franchise from the beginning, but can be explained with a simple mistake by Skynet: multiversal travel. If you agree with my theory or have your own ideas, make sure you put them down in the comment section below. Remember to like and subscribe for more content like this. See you soon. By the way, Paramount, I know Terminator is a big franchise for you and the streaming wars are upon us, but please don't reboot this franchise with some big budget nonsensical movies. You have tried everything from showing the future to alternate timelines to killing off main characters to making the main hero secretly the villain. Flesh out Sarah's life after T2 and even making her a proactive hero from the start. Nothing has worked, so make it stop. The action has been good though, not gonna lie.